Pre-Algebra 2-7 and 2-8. We're going to solve equations. Nothing has changed about solving equations. We're always going to solve and check and show all work. There's going to be a lot more fractions and decimals in there. You work it the same way. So in this problem, x minus 17.5 equals 11. First we're going to go plus 17.5 plus 17.5. Remember, you line up decimals. So since 11 doesn't have a decimal, I'll just add one and put a 0 so they're the same length. Then I'm going to add, I'm going to get 5 and 8 and 2. Be sure not to forget to bring your decimal down. So x equals 28.5. Then to check it, you do checking just like normal. Anyway, as I was saying before the phone rang, when you check it, you just check like normal. You write the original equation, you put 28.5 back in, and you see if it actually checks. Okay, here's another problem. X over 7.5 equals 4. Since we're dividing by 7.5, we're going to do the opposite, which is multiply. So 7.5 times x over 7.5, which looks really weird to have decimals around in the fraction area, doesn't it? And then we have 4 times 7.5. So cancel that out. You're going to get x equals something. Now, for me, I can't just go 4 times 7.5 in my head. Pretty sure you can't either. I have to put the 7.5 down and the 4 down and actually multiply. So that's going to be 20. And that's going to be 28 plus 2 is 30. And there's a decimal. When there's one decimal place here, you move over one decimal place and your decimal goes there. So 30 is the answer. Okay? Okay, let's check that one. We think it's 30. So we write the original problem. Then we put 30 in for x. And then we have that. So we actually have to come over to the side and divide it. 30 goes inside the box. The top number always goes inside the box. 7.5 is out here, but remember, you're not allowed to divide with decimals in the outside of the box or the divisor. So what you do is you go over, put a decimal over, up, and your new decimal is up there. We went over, but my stylus doesn't want to write. So you really have 75 now divided into 300. 75 goes into 300 4 times. 4 times 75 is 300. So 4 equals 4. Okay, here's our next one. Now, we spent a lot of time in Chapter 11 learning how to get rid of fractions. You could do that here. You could totally multiply everything by 9, get rid of the fractions. That would be fine. Or you can work it with the fractions. I sort of decide based on which way is easier. Like, if there's a bunch of fractions and it's complicated and they don't all have the same denominator, I'm going to get rid of them every time. But this is pretty simple to work with a fraction. So I'm going to work it with the fraction. So minus 1/9 minus 1/9. Now, negative 4/9 minus 1/9 happens to be negative 5/9. So x equals negative 5/9. That was pretty easy and straightforward. Okay? Even checking on this one will be easy, because we're just going to put negative 5/9 back in for x. Well, negative 5 plus 1 is negative 4. It's going to check beautifully. Okay, here's another one. This one, it's fairly easy to work with the fraction. It's fairly easy to work getting rid of the fraction. Okay? If you have 1/8, wouldn't that be 2/16? So you could change that and work it with the fraction. Or you could multiply by 8 and get rid of the fraction. Well, I'm going to multiply by 8 this time just because that's super easy. 8 times x is 8x. 8 times 1/8 is just the 1. The 8's cross out. And 8, oh, I can't multiply by 8. My bad. I'm thinking like all wrong. I got to multiply by 16 because that's the bigger number. So 16 times x is 16x, and 16 times 1/8 is -2, and 16 times 9/16 is just 9. Now I just get to go plus 2, so 16x equals 11. Now everyone is starting to panic because you can see you're not getting a whole number. It's okay not to get a whole number. X is going to be 11 divided by 16, because we're going to divide by 16, divide by 16. That's the answer. Now, here's one. I'm not sure if we've had one like this before. So let me slow down and let you think about it. You know, you could multiply and get rid of the fractions. But honestly, I'm over here in my head saying, what is the common denominator? Because 5 and 16, I'm probably going to have to multiply them to find the common denominator, and it's yucky. So there's a nice shortcut. This shortcut works when you have a fraction here and nothing is added or subtracted, and a fraction here. So basically, fraction, fraction, equal sign. This works beautifully. Okay? What you do is you're going to take this fraction, flip it over, and multiply both sides by it. When you flip a fraction over, it's actually called the reciprocal. But the beautiful thing about it, when you flip it over and multiply, your 3 and your 5 are going to cancel out, and you're going to be left with W. Isn't that what we're wanting? So this is the shortcut. Again, it works when you have a fraction, and an equal sign. No other things, nothing added or subtracted. So we're going to go 5, well, I have to get 5/3 times, because I flipped it, 3/5 W, that's what I had to start with. And then we had 3/16 times 5/3. And look what happens. Cancel, cancel, you have W that's left. And then, look here, this is going to cancel. So you end up with 5/16. W is 5/16. We're going to check this one. Remember, we got the answer of 5/16. This is pretty easy to check. So, you're just going to put 5/16 in for W spot after you write the original problem. And look, some of you are already going, oh, wow, look what's going to happen. The 5's cancel. 3/16 equals 3/16. So just because it has a fraction, even this one has two fractions, sometimes it's just easy to check fractions. Here's a fun problem. T minus 3 is all on the top of a fraction, 2's on the bottom, and it equals 75. This one, we definitely want to multiply both sides by 2, because it will get rid of our fraction. So times 2 over here, times 2 over here, that cancels. And that leaves T minus 3 equals 150. Then it got to be a really easy problem. Plus 3, so T equals 153. Easy to check this one. Okay, here's video homework. Make sure you solve and check and show all work. You guys are amazing. Have a wonderful weekend.